You're unmuted.
Good afternoon. I want to welcome everybody to the September meeting of your State Board of Elections. We have in person three folks here: Vice Chair Dance, member from Pennsylvania, and two folks online, Matthew and Ms. Alvis Long. So I want to welcome everybody. First order of business would be to let's take the roll. Alvis Long, can you call the roll?
She's muted.
Now you can hear me?
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
Chairman O'Bannon,
Yeah, here.
Vice Chair Dance,
Here.
Delegate Merricks,
Here.
Mr. Weinstein,
Here.
and Secretary Alvis Long here.
Thank you very much. Secretary, do you want to present the minutes of our August meeting as they're written?
Absolutely. Mr. Chairman, the minutes from the August 15th meeting have been distributed to the board for their review. I'm requesting that if there are no corrections or additions to be made, that you ask for a motion to approve them.
All right. Good. Can I get a motion to approve?
I so move, Mr. Chair.
I'll second, but on page 11, line 214, it said the motion passed unanimously, but it wasn't unanimous.
All right, we'll accept that as an appropriate correction.
Oh, that's true. Yes.
All right.
And you said page 11?
Page 11, line 214.
With that correction, would you call the roll, please?
Yes, Chairman O'Bannon,
Aye.
Vice Chair Dance,
Aye.
Delegate Merricks,
Aye.
Mr. Weinstein,
Aye.
and Secretary Alvis Long. Aye. Sorry, I missed that.
All right, thank you very much. We will now be doing public comment. As usual, we'll do 3 minutes per person. And we'll start if there is anybody here physically in the room who would like to speak. We'll acknowledge you now. If not, we'll go to folks who are attending virtually. You know, they queued up in any specific order.
The list that I gave.
Here, Roxy Allen. I will come back to this list if we don't get any answers. Jeff Fuller. Virginia Derby Jordan. Ann Gregorian. Ms. Gregorian.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Good afternoon. My name is Ann Gregorian, and I submitted the petition, which is on your agenda today. This year, 19,000 dead people were found on the voter list who should have been removed since 1960. In 2022, over 10,000 felons were disqualified from voting, yet remained on Virginia list of qualified voters. Within this group, over 1,200 were allowed to cast a ballot since 2011. Each of these voters disenfranchised a legitimate voter. Prior to 2020, customers who used non-citizen documents at the DMV were denied the opportunity to register to vote. HB 235 eliminated that restriction. Now everyone is offered the opportunity to register, even those who have just presented documentation indicating they are not qualified to vote under Virginia law. Also in 2020, DMV stopped sending non-citizen document numbers to elect for use in the DHS Saves program. DMV failed to send this information for over 2 years, and elect failed to notice it was even missing. Elect canceled 2,771 non-citizens from our list who were registered to vote in violation of the laws of Virginia. If approved, the petition before the board today would not create a mandate, and it is unclear to me why elect has indicated that it would. This policy request simply requires that elect establish a voluntary process for clerks of court to relay disqualifying information on lists that are already in the possession of elect. Any match would simply place the registered voter into the corresponding confirmation process already utilized for list maintenance. Elect's argument of dissent on this petition also relies in part on a 1997 Attorney General opinion, which conflates jury master list and jury surveys. They are not the same list, and they do not share common restrictions on disclosure. Virginia law directs that elect use any source of information that may assist in carrying out the purposes of list maintenance. All state agencies are directed to join in this effort. The GAO and EAC both support using jury surveys as a best practice for list maintenance. The SCOTUS intertribal decision found that nothing precludes states from conducting list maintenance based on information in their possession establishing ineligibility. The competing task of list maintenance and voter registration could create an inherent tension that requires every available tool be utilized to maintain the integrity of our elections. Virginia has the capability to maintain our own lists. We just need leadership willing to put out policy that allows this task to be done. The State Board of Elections should approve this petition as an effective check and balance to ensure only qualified voters remain on our list. I thank you for your time.
Thank you very much for speaking today and for your interest in the entire process.
So I do have Roxana Gray.
All
I
right.
believe that's Ms.
Hello, this is Roxana Gray. Virginia's
Yes, ma'am.
registered voter list is not accurate. Per the Code of Virginia, you are responsible for maintaining a complete and accurate record of registered voters in the Commonwealth. The analysis in Holtzman-Volger's pre-litigation notice to elect shows that Virginia's registered voter list is not as accurate as it should be. Per their analysis, 43 counties and cities have more registered voters than adult citizens over the age of 18. 58 counties and cities have voter registration rates that exceed 90% of adult citizens over the age of 18. EPIC also compared the registered voters to the U.S. Census and came up with similar results. How are you maintaining an accurate registered voter list if elect does not verify that registered voters are U.S. citizens? You do not verify that the Social Security number matches the name and birth date of registered voters, has almost 2,000 instances of duplicate Social Security numbers per FOIA response dated August 29th of 23. You only reviewed the State Register of Vital Records back to 1960, which identified almost 19,000 deceased people that needed to be removed. Why did we only go back to 1960? Has over 400,000 inactive voters, over 400,000 voters who have potentially moved. A review shows most of these have been moved out of state. These inactive voters are technically active and they have potentially moved. They make up about approximately 7% of our registered voter list. Per Elect's August 18, 2023 FOIA response, no states are sharing their registered voter list with Virginia. Virginia has an August 8, 2023 agreement with Maryland to give them Virginia's registered voter list and voter history, but no reciprocal agreement to get their registered voter list or voter history. Elect is also not regularly doing a check with the U.S. Post Office that residential addresses and mailing addresses are valid. Elect not conducting a match of the registered voter list with the list of deceased persons maintained by the Social Security Administration per the Code of Virginia 24.2-404.3. The Code of Virginia 24.2-404 states that the department shall use any source of information that may assist in carrying out the purposes of this section, which is to maintain an accurate record of registered voters. As Ann just mentioned, utilizing a jury duty questionnaire would help identify registered voters who may need to be canceled. As you can see from the previous list, there's lots of things Elect needs to be doing to improve the accuracy of our rolls. Also, Elect does not communicate to voters on when and how to notify the General Register of name or address changes and deceased family members. Most people do not realize they need to be changing their address, and this is why we have so many issues with our registered voter list. The Code of Virginia does not need to mandate everything you need to do to maintain an accurate registered voter list. Please think outside of the box and let's get an accurate list of registered voters.
Thank you, Ms. Gray. Can you share with me what part of the state you reside in, where you vote?
I live in Spotsylvania, Virginia, and I sent an email on these same issues about a month ago on August the 14th.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Any other folks wish to speak during public comment? Right, absent any additional comments, we will proceed with the agenda. Let me, want to introduce our commissioner. I should also introduce our lawyer. Stan Cruz, welcome for joining us today. Commissioner's report.
Thank you. Mr. Chairman, Madam Vice Chair, members of the board. Department of Elections has been very busy getting ready for early voting to begin next Friday, September 22nd for the 2023 elections, which will cover General Assembly and local offices. We have been ballot proofing, making sure that every ballot adheres to ballot standards for each locality. We have also sent those back to the localities, and those ballots are now being printed and stuffed to be mailed next week prior to the beginning of absentee voting. Everyone who is on a permanent absentee list or who has applied for an absentee ballot, and as well as all of our military and overseas voters, have to have those ballots mailed to them at least 45 days before election day. So those will be going out next week. I wanted to flag a couple things that have changed this year for the election. We do have a new envelope B, which is the return envelope for the absentee ballot. It no longer requires a witness signature, and instead the voter is going to be asked to provide the last four of their social security number and the year of birth. This is a change. It's important for our absentee voters to know that. They will figure that out when they receive the ballot in the mail, but wanted to know that. Also, we have streamlined the provisional process by creating a new provisional ballot envelope. We previously had several provisional ballot envelopes, and then with the add-on of same-day registration, that process became a little bit more complicated. So we went ahead and developed an all-in-one envelope. So one side is for a same-day registration voter, and the other is for a regular provisional voter. It's all in the same place. We get the registration application on there too. So hopefully we'll make the process move a little bit more quickly in the precincts. We have created and are offering some new trainings to the field on the topics of election observers and same-day registration. Those are available to officers of election, electoral board members, general registrars through our website. And we also have made some enhancements to our election night reporting. As you will recall, we issued a new solution for election night reporting in the June primary, and we have taken feedback from registrars and made some additional enhancements to that for November. So we're actually having a webinar today with our registrars to walk them through those improvements and remind them how to use the new system. Finally, I just wanted to take a moment in my comments and say a special thank you to Brenda Cabrera. She has served as the president of the Voter Registrars Association for the last 2 years. Her time in that role has ended. She's also retiring as the general registrar of the city of Fairfax, and she has been a wonderful partner to elect over the last 2 years in representing her association very well. So just wanted to extend well wishes to her on her retirement and thank you for her service.
It's great. Any questions? I'd like to just echo that it's humbling when you wind up on a list where you get copies of all the conversations that go on amongst the registrars in the state as well as members of the elected board. They really are doing a really good job of trying to make sure that this is going to be a smooth election. We'll have prompt, useful outcomes, results in a timely fashion that will be valid and will be proven to be valid over the process that we. So we, as a department and the board, we do have the responsibility of relating to the respective officers of election and the poll workers as far as their training.
That's correct. The official training for officers of election and electoral board members only comes from the Department of Elections.
And while those persons are often nominated by one party or the other, once they assume those roles, they are in a nonpartisan situation in those polls places.
We ask that they follow the law.
All right. Well, thank you very much. All right. We have an election to certify.
Excuse me, if when you go to speak, if you can speak a little bit louder so that the mics can hear you here, okay?
Would they be better standing where they are or coming to the center or? does-
He's fine. He is, when you guys speak, just speak up just a little bit louder so they can hear you that.
All right, welcome, Mr. Son.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. On August 29th, three localities, Smith, Wythe, and Carroll counties, conducted a special election to fill a vacancy in the 6th District of the House of Delegates. Upon completion of that election, local registrars entered all relevant election data and results in the election night reporting system. In accordance with law, the electoral boards conducted their canvasses, provisional ballot meetings, and certified their local results and forwarded those certified abstracts to the agency. Let staff then did our check for errors and accepted those ascertained results as they were sent to us. Therefore, staff recommends that the board certify the results of that election and declare the winner. Happy to answer any questions, Mr. Chairman.
All right, thank you very much. Any members have any questions? Your motion?
Mr. Chairman, after reviewing the abstract of votes cast in the August 29, 2023 special election for member House of Delegates 6th District, I move that the board certify the results as presented and declare the winner.
I second.
All right, thank you.
Move.
All right. Madam Secretary, would you officially call the roll?
She's on. Sorry.
Okay, Chairman O'Bannon,
Aye.
Vice Chair Dance.
Aye.
Delegate Merrick's,
Aye.
Mr. Weinstein,
Aye.
Secretary Alvis Long, aye.
All right, thank you all very much. That is accomplished, and I think there's some paperwork we'll have to sign
Yes, sir. I have that for you.
before people leave the building today. Okay, thank you. Next, Ms. Alexander.
Good afternoon. Today we finalize the results or your votes from the August 15th meeting regarding Stand By Your Ad. You have it in your memo with your recommended motion.
All right,
Any questions or?
so this is the process that is in the code that we have to do this a second time and sign off on them, and then we'll have signatures for those as well. I do think we're in legitimate order to do these in a block since we heard them individually last
Yes,
time. So is there a motion?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Chair, I move that the board finalizes the 14 stand by your ad violations assessed in the August 15, 2023 State Board of Elections.
Second. All right, call the roll.
Am I unmuted?
Hi, this is Donna Patterson. How are you?
Oh no.
She's on mute. You're fine.
Okay.
All right,
Is it okay to call the roll?
please.
Chairman O'Bannon,
Aye.
Vice Chair Dance,
Aye.
Delegate Merrick's,
Aye.
Mr. Weinstein,
Aye.
and Secretary Alvis Long, aye.
All right, thank you all very much. We have accomplished that item.
Thank you. I have them for you to sign after the meeting.
Sign those as well. Did Ms. Patterson wish to speak in public comment, and was she late or?
I let her know the public comment was over, but that choice is yours.
If she wishes to comment, Elder Jackie, we'll make an exception for this one. If she wishes to comment, otherwise we'll proceed with.
Mr. Chair, I have a quick comment real fast, if you have a second.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, just quick, I think it might be worthwhile to look at some of the guidance we have for assessing some of these fines. I think some of them, I just want to make sure that, the guidance we have is really in line with the code and how they define certain terms for this. So I agree with everything we've done, and I think that's fine. But I think maybe in the future, not saying now, we should look at the how all this is, what the policy guidance looks like for this before we do this again, I guess, next January.
Thank you, sir. We'll take that as constructive criticism.
No, not no. I mean, nothing we did. I think it's just certainly we need a little clarity. That's all.
I think we're sort of all in the same posture on that. Thank you. All right, Ms. Patterson.
So, Ms. Patterson, would you like to speak?
we'll go ahead with the agenda and you can.
Okay,
Sort of,
I reached
sure.
out to her.
Thank you. So the next order of business is the certification of voting systems. Welcome.
Welcome. Good afternoon, Chairman O'Bannon, Vice Chair Dance, members of the board. My name is Londo Andrews. If I can introduce myself, I am your new voting system security manager. I've taken over the role from Karen Holt Stewart. You have a packet in front of you right now with information about a certification that took place a couple of weeks ago for Dominion. And if I can give you a background on that certification, if you would. Following the steps prescribed in the Virginia State Certification of Voting Systems, Requirements and Procedures, Dominion initiated the certification evaluation to the Department of Elections on August 1st, 2023. Dominion provided the technical data package and corporate information required under step 2 of the Requirements and Procedures. Both of these submissions were deemed complete and in sufficient detail to warrant step number 3, the preliminary review. During the preliminary review, the state designated evaluation agent conducted a preliminary analysis of the TDP and other materials provided and prepared the test assertions. Dominion provided the certification fee, and the testing evaluation was conducted on August 21st through August 24th, 2023 at the elect facilities in Virginia. In addition, the system was successfully tested in the mock election in Amelia County on August 25th, 2023. The Dominion voting system presented for certification under 5.17 successfully completed the Virginia voting systems certification requirements. In your packet, you will also find a recommendation from ELEC that the board approved certification of the Dominion software 5.17 for use in the state of Virginia. If you don't have any other questions, thank you.
All right, so thank you very much. Do any members have any questions? I'm curious, how many localities?
29.
29 localities use it.
Yes.
All right. Absent any questions? Is there a motion?
You can make it hard for me if you want.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
I move that the board certify the use of Dominion voting system version 5.17 in elections in the Commonwealth of Virginia pursuant to the state certification of voting systems requirements and procedures.
A second.
I second.
Thank you. Have some comment? Would you call the roll, please, Madam Secretary?
Chairman O'Bannon,
Aye.
Vice Chair Dance, Delegate Merrick's,
Aye.
Mr. Weinstein,
Aye.
and Secretary Aldous Long, aye.
All right, thank you very much. Next agenda item is our report.
Well, good afternoon, Chairman O'Bannon, members of the board. You have before you the State Board of Elections Annual Report. As a result of acts of assemblies, Chapter 619 during the 2020 session, the board is required to submit an annual report on the activities of the board and elect in the previous year. And this report will be posted on our website. So I really want to do a big shout out and appreciation to Claire Scott, who put a lot of work into authoring this report. And while I will not go over the entire report with you, I will just give you a really big high level overview that the board met a total of 11 times, certifying 3 elections, approving 2 new regulations, adopting 1 amendment to an existing regulation, assessing and addressing a variety of administrative matters, updated and ensuring election security, and defining penalties for standby or ad violations. And this is from January 1, 2022 to December 31st. And elect has no motions or recommendations.
Great, thank you. We need to vote to accept that. That's information.
Yes.
Thank you very much. All right, next item is petition for rulemaking. You also have that item?
Yes.
All right.
So before you, you have a petition for rulemaking. So under the Code of Virginia, any person may petition any agency to adopt a new regulation or amend a regulation. Elect received a petition for rulemaking for the state board regarding the use of juror questionnaires for voter list maintenance. So the petition requested that the board establish a process that essentially allows jury commissioners to relay from lists of from jury questionnaires to general registrars for the use of list maintenance. The petition was posted on Town Hall, and there was a public comment period that ended on July 10. Elect received a total of 323 comments in support of the petition and no comments in opposition. So upon review of the petition, Elect recommends that the State Board of Election takes no action. While Elect does support diverse list maintenance practices that strengthen and revitalize list maintenance in Virginia, the board does not appear to have the statutory authority to mandate the requested practice. And I know you do kind of have your analysis in front of you, but I do just kind of want to give a high level overview regarding Elect's recommendation. This recommendation was made also in consultation with the Office of Attorney General. This recommendation is in no way about the merits of using juror questionnaires or whether it has good information on it or not. It is solely about whether the board has the authority to mandate that that list be utilized for list maintenance. So juror questionnaires are kind of govern this entire process ultimately by 4 code sections. So we do have 8.01-345 and 8.01-346, which kind of requires jury lists to be kept safely by the clerk. The Supreme Court has asserted that the jury list is confidential, and there was an opinion by the Office of Attorney General that also includes jury lists and juror questionnaires. So essentially, even when good cause is shown, the inspection of lists is permitted only under the watchful eye of the court. Any copying or photo stating of the list is not permitted. So for these reasons, we believe the State Board does not have the authority to regulate the disclosure of jury questionnaires to general registrars. So this does present the next question that if the board can't regulate the disclosure of jury questionnaires to registrars, if a clerk of court decided to give that information over voluntarily, could the board then regulate or set procedures or a process for general registrars to utilize that for list maintenance? However, the board does not appear to have the authority to regulate such a process, even given voluntarily, pursuant to Title 24.2, specifically 427 and 428. So in 427, it essentially outlines 5 instances in which a source can be utilized to cancel a voter. For some of those instances, there are very specific sources that can be utilized to cancel a voter in that particular situation. So because the Virginia General Assembly legislated very specific circumstances that general registrars may use in determining whether to cancel a voter's registration, and because it does not include jury questionnaires, it cannot be utilized for that purpose. And then finally, 24.2-428 implements the federal requirement for list maintenance programs as required under the National Voter Registration Act, or NVRA. So this list maintenance program is based on changes in residence only and creates correspondence known as voter confirmation notices. If a voter does not respond to a confirmation notice within 30 days, they'll be placed as inactive. However, the voter cannot be canceled unless they remain inactive for 2 federal general elections. So information from jury commissioners provided directly to general registrars would expand the provisions of 428. It does not fall under a list maintenance program established by Elect. And so as a result, the use of juror questionnaires is not applicable for this purpose. So in order to permit the use of juror questionnaires directly by general registrars for list maintenance purposes, that's not in potential conflict with the Code of Virginia. We believe that a statutory change by the General Assembly is required, and you have a motion in front of you, and I will defer to counsel for any additional questions.
Well, thank you very much. I think that's worthwhile dive into this discussion, and I'm going to ask for counsel to comment in just a minute. But I just want to say I appreciate the advocates and the involvement here. We all want an end result that is useful. And so I think this has been a good process to go through, and I'm going to ask for Mr. Andrews to comment, and then we'll go from there.
Well, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I don't have honestly much else to add on top of Ashley's presentation already. As she suggested, the department and I in my office have worked in reviewing this very carefully, and given the Supreme Court of Virginia precedent, the I think 2 Virginia Attorney General opinions that are based on that precedent, we did reach this conclusion.
So I'm going to take a moment and tell you that I am guilty as is she, as is he. Because we all sat up in the General Assembly and we made all these laws. It's not the first time we've gotten wrapped around the axle on some of these issues. So I would just let folks know that we'll have a new General Assembly. You can certainly take the approach that's been recommended here of the new statute, or you could even find somebody to do a new opinion request to the AG's office to update that. So I do think that this will be productive in the long run, giving folks some. Any members? I didn't mean to be a smart aleck on that.
Very inclusive. I know we appreciate that, right?
Anybody, any members have any further comments? All right, is there a motion?
Mr. Chair, I move that the board take no action on the proposed petition for rule making pursuant to 212-437 and 1-10-50 of Virginia, as the board does not have the statutory authority to mandate the requested practice and that such decision be posted on town hall.
For a second? Second. Please call the roll.
Yes, Chairman O'Bannon,
Aye.
Vice Chair Dance. Aye. Delegate Merrick's,
Aye.
Mr. Weinstein,
Aye.
Secretary Elvis Long, aye.
All right, thank you very much. Next item, Scott, welcome.
Good afternoon, Chairman O'Bannon, members of the State Board of Elections. I'm here to present once again another split precinct. This split precinct comes to us from Northumberland County. This was previously approved by the State Board during your August 2022 meeting. As you are aware, Code of Virginia authorizes the State Board of Elections to grant a waiver to administer a split precinct if the governing body of the locality is unable to establish a precinct with the minimum number of registered voters without splitting the precinct. For our county, in this situation, the minimum is 100 registered voters. The split is with the town of Kilmarnock. In Northumberland County, there are 53 voters on that side of the county line, and Northumberland requests a split for that. And the elect recommends approval.
All right. Any members have any questions? Their motion?
Mr. Chair, I move that the State Board of Elections approve the split precinct waiver for Northumberland County.
Their second?
Second,
Thank you. Call the roll.
Chairman O'Bannon,
Aye.
Vice Chair Dance.
Aye.
Delegate Merrick's,
Aye.
Mr. Weinstein,
Aye.
Secretary Elvis Long, aye.
All right.
I do have someone who wanted to speak during public comment. Or her name is Virginia Darby Jordan.
Yes, she was on the list. So why
Yes.
don't we go ahead and acknowledge, we'll return briefly to public comment and acknowledge her to speak.
Miss Jordan, if you can unmute your line.
Can you hear me? Hello?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, okay. Oh, thank you very much for taking my call. I'm in the district, the North Central District Regional Meeting of VIBA, and I've been trying to get on with you all, and I apologize for being late. I'm calling, my name's Virginia Derby Jordan, as you know, and I'm chairman of the Electoral Board of Orange County. I'm calling regarding statute title number 24.2-604.4, which has to do with authorized representatives at polling places, and specifically about section C, which states what authorized representatives are allowed to do at the regular polling places and the central absentee voter precincts. And what we have been dealing with for a couple of years now, the language says that they are allowed to be close enough to the voter check-in table to be able to hear and see what is occurring. and however, without violating the secret vote provision. And it is that language to be able to hear and see what is occurring, which has caused us so much trouble because we, in all of our precincts, and we have 12, except for the one that's in the registrar's office, there's enough room for the election official, for the poll watchers to stand where they can see the poll book and see that the name that is being given is in fact on the poll book, or whether it is not. But in the CAP, in the registrar's office for the early voting, the poll book has been positioned on the counter such that it faces where the employees are. And there's this big issue of whether or not the poll watcher or the election official can see the poll book. And we would very much appreciate if you all could clarify that language, saying where it says be able to hear and see what is occurring, to then say to include having visual access to the poll book so that they can also verify that the person who is giving their name is actually on the poll book or is not on the poll book. And this, you cannot imagine the complexities that this has brought to our county for the last couple of years. And that is what I'm calling about, and was wondering if there was a way to get that language clarified. And I realize this is a General Assembly issue as well, but I mean, we just wanted to bring it to your attention. My understanding is that other counties have had issues with this, and rather than having to, start a satellite office and that kind of thing, we don't wish to engage that kind of expense. And we actually are going to have a new registrar's office for the next election, and we do not contemplate this being a problem for future elections. But for this one, it definitely is, and we'd love it if you could give us direction in writing, or someone specifically calling our registrar saying you do need to allow the authorized representatives to be able to see the poll book in the registrar's office for the early voting days. That's what I'm calling about and requesting.
Thank you very much. We appreciate your comments. All right. No further business. I think we'll move on to our closed session with our legal counsel.
Mr. Chairman, pursuant to Virginia Code Section 2.2-3711A7, I move that the board go into closed session for the purpose of discussing pending and threatened litigation in accordance with Section 2.2-3712F. Susan Bills, Commissioner of Elections, and Travis Andrews, the Office of Attorney General, will attend the closed session because their presence will reasonably aid the board in its consideration of the subject of the meeting.
Second.
Yep, second.
Please call the roll.
Chairman O'Bannon,
Aye.
Vice Chair Dance,
Aye.
Delegate Merrick's,
Aye.
Mr. Weinstein,
Aye.
Secretary Elvis Long, aye.
Just out of courtesy, before you all go offline, I want to thank everybody for their input today. We will next meet on Election Day in the Patrick Henry building.
In this building.
In this building, all right? In the Washington building, and that will be an in-person.
Yes, sir.
And so it will be a long day, but I am hopeful it will be a smooth day, and we will all move on to next year, which should be even more exciting. So thank you all very much. We'll now go into closed section. Thank you all.
Can you mute us?
All right, and you're good.
Thank you, ma'am. So is there a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I move to reconvene the meeting in open session and take a roll call vote certifying that to the best of each member's knowledge, only such public business matters lawfully exempted from open meeting requirements under this chapter, and only such public business matters as were identified in the motion of which the closed meeting was convened, were heard, or discussed by the State Board of Elections.
Thank you, sir. Is there a second? Please call the roll.
Chairman O'Bannon,
Aye.
Vice Chair Dance,
Aye.
Delegate Merrick's,
Aye.
Mr. Weinstein,
Aye.
Secretary Alvis Long, aye.
All right, we're back in open session, and I believe our agenda is complete. So absent objection, we will stand adjourned until Election Day. Everybody can vote next Friday. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thanks. Both. Okay, we got